Alrighty, y'all. So in today's video, I'm gonna do something a little different. I ran across somebody else who did a video like this for a lake, and it was one that I was practicing for, not practicing for, I was studying for, just in case I ever go there. But I thought it was really cool. And so I kind of want to do a Potomac map walkthrough, run through for the Potomac, so that if you are, one, a new boater, or two, you're coming up here to practice for a tournament, this will assist you in learning this body of water. Now, the places I'm going to give you are some that I've caught fish, some that I've seen, some that I've been to. The main thing is I want you to be able to run your boat and not mess it up on this body of water, because this is where I first learned to run my boat, and it was a scary endeavor the first couple of times getting out there. I'm glad I had a good buddy to take me out and kind of show me the ropes, because guys, when I say I jumped right into owning a boat, I did. I jumped right in. Went out, bought a brand new one, and majority of people who do that kind of probably mess their boat up the first year. And I didn't do that because I had a friend who showed me how to run the water. And again, let me tell you, when it was one of those like, yeah, go ahead and get her up on plane, I was like, but we're in 4 feet of water. I was scared. Brand new boat. I didn't want to mess it up. I wanted to keep looking pretty. So this video is really going to be about just, again, points on the Potomac. All of these are in a book that you can buy. Ken Penrod, Potomac Secrets, River, whatever. I own the book because I was like, how do I learn all of these like intricate spots that are on the Potomac? And so I bought that book. It's an old book, 1984. It's going to talk about all of these spots. I mean, none of these things are news to anybody, but I don't think there's this comprehensive video that kind of shows this, and I'm going to break this up into multiple sections, so stay tuned for that. Right now what we're going to do is go over the north section, which is the DC section. You need actually, good point to make is that above the bridge, pretty much the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, which I'll show you here in a second, you're going to need a DC fishing license. Let's get into it from my screen capture over here. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Alrighty. We's a screen capturing. Windows 10 actually kind of makes this pretty easily. But one of the areas I like to launch is down here at Belhaven Marina. It's a very small marina, so it doesn't have a lot of places to park your boat, or even if you do, I think you have to drive out and park around here somewhere. So just know that going in, there's not a lot of spots there. There is a launch fee. It's very small. But anyway, starting here, when you're coming out of here, actually when you're launching, guys, I was scared the very first time I ever launched my boat, because my buddy was like, don't drop your motor. I was like, what? Wait, what? Pretty much, yeah, right there. Don't drop the motor. Don't trim it down. Just, you can start it up in that general vicinity, but don't, back it off the boat utilizing the motor, because it can be pretty shallow, depending on what you're tied in. A lot of this stuff, very tide dependent on sometimes where you can run and where you shouldn't run. But most of the places I'm going to tell you are places you can slow down and just kind of idle across. This is one of those areas that, again, as soon as you get there, the little docks there, you can kind of start your motor up, you can run them, but I wouldn't go as far as like it. On high tide, yeah, you could probably motor on out of there. I try to hug pretty close to the docks as I'm coming out of there every time, but kind of what I'm saying is, hug close to these docks, kind of come out here, hug around, and hit kind of this deep area right in there, and then keep on motoring out, and then anywhere in here you could probably get up on plane and shoot out, but don't cut across this area right in here, this bad area. There's all kinds of stuff to hit, and it's highly ill-advised. But you got Hog Island and all this area down here. You see the little fishy symbol. You got some deep water access, a little drain that's back here. Drains are very important. Anytime you can find any kind of fresh water filling in to the Potomac, those are good little areas. Anytime it rains, try those areas out, because those are just key areas. Fish will get into those, especially when the main river gets really dirty and nasty. But even as you're coming out of here, you can come out of here, just be go slow, idle, trim all the way up, jack your jack plate up. I've definitely put some nicks on my prop right in this area, because there's some shells, some rock right in that area. But if you're coming out of here, you can kind of get on plane, bust out to here, and now we need to really head north, right? And heading north, there's two ways to go about this, right? You can go up here, and then about the time you hit the bridge, you're going to have to stop into a no wake zone, and this no wake zone is going to go for quite some distance, maybe to right here, but I think maybe right into this area. Either way, it's a good idle, so you have to plan for that. If you're doing a tournament and you don't want to run kind of the sketchy side, which they've put some no wake buoys on the sketchy side now, so it's really up to you on what you do there. Cobra Kai, sweep the leg, Johnny. You know, but there's a lot of docks here. A lot of docks, a lot of structure underneath those docks, a lot of piled up wood and all that. So, you know, these are absolutely worth a check. I think old video, I'm talking maybe 2011 YouTube fishing vids guy. He came in here and caught a pretty daggone good stringer one time. But before I go any further up, this is the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, or this is the bridge. You know, just call it the bridge, whatever. You know, all of this area, do not run in. It's very shallow. If it's low tide, you're gonna mess your stuff up. I've seen people do it though. It depends on kind of what boat you have. You know, if you're running a little tin aluminum rig, people could probably get away with it. And I've seen people get away with it. I've seen, you know, center consoles, little bay liners and stuff get away with it. I mean, I was cringe watching. I was just waiting like, oh my God, here we go. But, you know, I've seen people get away with it. I would not do it personally. So, you know, you're coming out of this Belhaven area, you're running over here to this, I think it's a National Harbor area. Seeing some people catching some fish this year in this area. There's some good looking stuff. I mean, you look at this, you got some wrecks, some deep water access, maybe some grass there. I mean, that looks like that should be good. Even this right down here looks like it should be good. I never caught anything there, but then again, sometimes when I say that, it's because maybe I haven't really invested time in it. Maybe I haven't checked it multiple times throughout different time periods of the year. Just know that that's probably what I'm saying when I say that, is that, you know, I haven't spent much time on that. And the reason is because if I come through here, I'm cutting all the way here. I'm following the buoy markers and everything, and then I'm swinging across over here to where I get, you know, next to this area to where I'm in, you know, maybe about, I don't know, 50 yards or so off the bank or so, because you can run all this way into here, come up here, and now, like I said, they put no wake buoys in there, but it used to be you could keep on running and run past all of this and forego that whole no wake zone right there. And you got a bunch of shipwrecks here during different times of the year. It's a good little channel. These fish will move up and down on this. Of course, you know, last of the outgoing low tide, get a phone call. Be right back with you. A little lost after I just had to take a 30-minute call there, but you know, we're talking about kind of where you could run up in here, long no wake zone there and everything. But let's go back down here, and as you come along this area right here, you'll be able to run in, you know, through this National Harbor area, and then kind of come up here and keep a good distance from the about 50 yards or so. You can come up under this bridge, and you'll start seeing all these wrecks and stuff. Go outside of the buoy marker there. It's a no wake buoy marker right in about that area, and you'll be in about 13 feet, and that's actually that's a good area right in there, because you got a lot of wood. You got some really rock points off there, pretty deep right in there as it comes around. Just don't veer too close to this area right here. This is spoils, and all this is the famous spoil area. And what they did here was, while they were building the bridge, some of the local anglers got together and said, hey, you know, put all that into this area and actually create kind of a protected fishery area right there. And so they laid all the large concrete blocks and everything, and they come out a good ways. So, you know, don't get too close to this as you're coming up in here. Most of this area you can kind of get up on plane. There's some large stumps and large rocks, or large stumps that are in this area too. So just be careful. I mean, you just don't know, especially with this area. You know, but you can kind of come all the way back up in here, fish these area. Grass will grow up in this area, back up in here when we have good grass. Sometimes and grass will grow kind of in this area. There's a nice little feeder creek right there. Again, those feeder creeks are going to be very important anytime it rains, anytime that main river area gets dirty and nasty. You can find them stacked up in these across the Potomac. So those are good things to always look for, especially during rains. You get some wood on here. Don't really catch too much up in there, but you know, I guarantee it's good spots at times. And just kind of be careful. It just gets a little shallow up in this area, but you know, this area can hold fish. In the book that Ken Penrod wrote, it's basically low and slow, you know, throwing jigs, black and blue kind of stuff along that. Never really fished the outside of this area, but you got to assume that if fish are feeding in and out of here, they're gonna work those break lines in and out of there. So you know, a lot of things are always worth checking. I mean, look how those break lines right there kind of stack up just a little bit. But there's a lot of stuff out in this area too. But with deep water access in here, and when deep water on the Potomac, I'm talking like 10 feet. You know, not like this main stuff out here, which is, you know, 25 to 30 feet at times. Because most of your fish in the Potomac are going to get caught in 2 feet of water. It's just something that, you know, I've learned from fishing there. There's like, you could have 20 feet of water, but you still need to throw up into that 2 feet of water, because the 20 feet of water fish aren't going to be as active. You know, the fish that are down in this area, they're just not going to be the active fish. The active fish are ones that are going to move up onto the structure, like this Fox Ferry Point area right here. Which you can take your boat through. This is where it gets real sketchy, guys, though. You know, you need to be about 15 to 20 yards off of the bank right in this area. There's a little ditch, a little trench that's about 5 feet of water. On a low tide, on a high tide, I've seen people just breeze through there, no problem. But you do not ever want to try to breeze through this area. There are stumps, there are pilings. But you know what? This area can hold fish. Fish can get up on this, a lot of concrete, a lot of wood. But as you traverse this area, just be careful that, you know, there's some stumps and big things that are underwater here that you can't see. But it does get kind of deep right in this area right there, so you can get back up on plane and kind of run around this area, cut kind of close to the bridge. Now, this is another area that, say, if you're running, I've never caught crap in this area. I never go there anymore. I think it's a complete waste of time. Or am I lying? No, I'm not lying, guys. I promise you. Did I turn this off? Okay, thought I turned my mic off there for a second. But you know, there's some stuff that always floats up in here. There's a lot of wood and stuff. I can't say that I've ever caught anything there other than maybe like a baby striper once, or maybe I don't know. I not something I spend time on, but it could be worth the check. But again, there's stuff that floats into here, so just be careful running through here on a low tide and even on a high tide. I mean, this little stretch right here can get dangerous. There's stuff there. I've done it though. I'm not gonna lie and say I haven't, but you know, I normally come through here, cut in through here, and then cut around this dock, which is where Justin Lucas, maybe one? I can't remember who it was. I think it was on a drop shot during a Bassmaster, you know, throwing up under this dock. You know, I'm telling you, during the winter time, this is a hot little area because you got discharge right here, and this area can be clean. This area can have clean water. Normally stays in the mid 50s throughout the year due to the discharge right there from the water plant. So, you know, gets a lot of pressure. Jerkbait normally does pretty good for me there. What else? Any kind of shaky heads, finesse type techniques do really well in this area. But that water, again, will stay clean quite a bit. You can have just the nastiest, ugliest water out here in this area, but kind of clean water. The mud shad will stack up pretty heavy here. I mean, to where you're just snagging them left and right. So, but that area is known as Blue Plains. Very well-known community hole. But if you're running through this area right here, you kind of run. Don't run over here because it's very shallow. You can see it says even a 2 foot shallow there. But you know, kind of run, you know, not too far off of the dock there. And then as you come through here, you can cut around. Now be very careful. I actually finally saw this the other day. It was really low enough, and this is a massive wood structure that I'm going to actually try to fish this next time. This next year some, simply because, I mean, look, you got a main river channel here with a ton of structure. I mean, this thing has little pilot, little strats and all kinds of different things coming off of this old shipwreck that's right there, old pylon. It's probably an old dock or something. I don't really know. But yeah, it's a lot of underwater structure, but make sure you maintain, there's a good marker right there that has that shows that there's a hazard there. So just, stay on this side of that as you're coming out of there. Gonna definitely give that a shot this next year. But one of the next areas that I like to run, and I'm going to zoom out to show you, is right over here. And this is a pretty famous discharge as well. This is called 4 Mile Run. And how to get there is you basically, as you're coming out of here, you're coming this way, you run this little channel right here, and you run on plane. Sometimes, yeah, stuff will wash in. That's just common. But just, point your boat at each one of the buoy markers there, and just kind of go straight in between them, right? Just boom, just continue to go straight in between them. It's good depth, which makes me wonder if this stretch right here is pretty good. You can see you got some good break lines. I know there's a lot of rock, a lot of wood on that, and you got like a deep ditch. You got a deep ditch channel right here. So I feel like I need to check this more because you circle back around over here, and actually let's adjust something here with the map options real fast. Let's dial this down to 15 or 16 works close enough. That did not do what I thought. Let's change that one more time. I can't see, my camera's kind of in the way. Hold up. I want that to highlight so that it shows the. There we go. Doing that, especially on the Potomac, is really vital, because that really makes a lot of these deeper areas truly pop. And you want to do it about that 10-foot range. And you can see, as I was saying, you see that channel more clearly now that you want to run in when you're coming up in here to get in 4 Mile. You have to stop right here. It's a no-wake zone right in front of the Sailing Academy. This is pretty deep down in this dock area. It's one of those places like you'd see it and you're like, man, it's got to be good. I can't say that I've ever caught fish there. I've seen smallmouth crush go up in there and catch fish. Actually, no, I take that back. I've caught a fish back here in this little, part of this. But I think maybe spawn time, I would definitely check that out. Check, a lot of this bank out during the spawn. But a lot of the time, what I'll do is I'll cut right across here. Now, high tide, you could probably run across that. It's dangerous though. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. There's just stumps and things that you just can't see that are there. But you can see you got a little deep spot right here, and that's normally kind of how I cut across here. I just cut across here and try to go straight across to this other side and then come in, because this is pretty shallow. It's mud, so you're not really gonna ding something up if you hit anything in here. But just know that I've run it before. Normally I will I'll take the long idle and just idle across this going slow, because I don't know what's washed in, what's come out of this this channel in here. But this is 4 Mile. There's some discharges in here. It stays in the mid 50s, so it's always a good place for winter to go catch a few, 1 or 2 fish, sometimes a lot, sometimes a little dinks, especially when the shad and all that get up in there. So continuing on, continuing on up the river here, you'll see it keeps going. I can't say that I've got a lot of experience up in this area, but I will say that it basically goes just run this area, run this channel and everything. Stay within the buoys. You can run in this area too. That's going to be fine, especially with the your boat. Especially when you're on plane, you can run in this area. I've kind of visited some of these spots over there the other day. Didn't find much. Came up in here. Another little discharge right there that could be good. That's something I've only checked once, but I'll probably go back and check a little bit more. Looks some grass and a little flat right there, to where you could definitely see fish moving up. But you see you got about 5 feet of water there. There's a ramp there too. Looked like a decent ramp, so maybe another place you can launch. Never launched there. Never had to launch there. Coming up here, Pentagon Lagoon. Pretty cool little place. Got some bunch of grass here. Depending on the time of the year, it might be pretty good. continuing back down, and right here where it splits and goes across, you'll see that you have Fort McNair, and I think this is the War College or something like that. Don't quote me, but when the grass is good, and I've seen it, it'll actually grow up right along this channel right here. Now don't get too close to the fort, or else the cops will come at you and come tell you to move. But you know, you can stand off of it and fish this area when the grass is good. I don't know if you know, these are some places that I might check out this year, but this gets pretty deep in here. But it's also a long idle. This is an extremely long idle, so you know, don't see too many people fishing back up in this area at all, because it's like I said, a long idle. I'm not saying there's not fish here, but there's fish everywhere, guys. Just kind of giving you what I have experience with. Now I've run up this way just a little bit this last year, but I've never gone further. You never see anybody talk about winning tournaments up in these areas. Could be untapped. I don't know. I really don't know. But you know, the majority of the people are fishing. They're fishing down lower than this Anacostia area, which is what this area. This is the Anacostia, pretty dirty river. a lot of things going on to clean that up, and you can kind of, you know, see that. You can go up here. I've never fished this area. This starts getting into, you know, what you'll hear as, this is all kind of still considered lower Potomac. All of this is still lower Potomac, because a lot of people consider, you know, the upper Potomac, all of this area up in here, which you cannot get to in a bass boat. So, and even here, I'd assume it starts getting pretty sketchy in certain areas. So, which I've never been past there. I've actually never been past Pentagon Lagoon. What else can I show you from here? We're going back down here. Now again, this is kind of where I say, okay, launch here at Belhaven. You know, very few parking spots, so you know, be knowledgeable about that. I've checked this area out. It's a pretty shallow rock and shell bed. One of the things you'll find is that during the old times, that these boats, as they would come into the Potomac, they would let loose a lot of rock, and that kind of became important to, you know, make those boats kind of come up, and so the ballast and all that, and so that's why you have a lot of rock piles and stuff that are out there in some of these areas. I can't say that that's exactly what this area is. I just know it has rock on it. It's mud, and there's mostly a lot of mud, and then you got rock, but you also got a little deep spot, and you see they got a little fishy spot there. Some of these spots I've checked out, some of them I haven't. Continuing down, you got Broad Creek, a lot of grass, you know, a lot of grass that'll grow up along these docks, right and along this area. I mean, this area could get pretty choked out if it's got a good grass growth there. So, you know, always worth a shot there. Pretty large, expansive flat, and if you can get up on plane, you can run across most of these areas in most of these kinds of, you know, creeks and stuff. And this is one that, you know, you pretty much could. If you kind of came off of here, you could probably run into no problem on plane. You can see you can get up in this little pocket right there. It's got some grass in it. Got, you know, gets the little lily pads there. Definitely an area that's got some feeder creek. Might be worth a check out. Can't say that I've ever fished this area at all. Just gets pretty shallow in there, and some of the times I just don't want to commit the time to doing that. Continuing on down, we're gonna have Swan Creek, and I might stop this. Yeah, I'll probably stop this right here around Fort Washington. But you know what, you can pretty much cut across all of this area with your bass boat, as long as you're on plane, you know, high tide, stuff like that. You'll probably be perfectly fine cutting across, you know, a lot of this area. You know, I'll do that even down here to the south. You know, not so much this area right here, but you know, if I'm running across all the way down here, you know, I'll run across all of this area right there, no problem. But back up here to Swan Creek, you'll see that it narrows down pretty quick right here in this area, to where, you know, you've got really these pylons, and that's how you want to go into this area. And, you know, get back here into the back. A lot of docks, a lot of seawall kind of stuff that's back here. You know, definitely definitely has potential, I think, during the spawn with some of these laydowns and things that are along this area. Have to check it out though. But yeah, you can come in through this, laydowns and things along the lines there. But I fished there. I can't say I've never caught anything back there. But again, you always have to go back during different times of the year. Check it different times. You never know when the fish are. I mean, especially in these tidal systems, you know, the fish are constantly moving. They're constantly moving up with the tide, moving back with the tide. And I'll admit, guys, that's why I'm not trying to give you fishing spots. I'm trying to say, like, these are places you can run and check and how to navigate this water, because I am not the best tidal water fisherman at all. I don't really like fishing tide. It is my, you know, but it fishes so hard at times. When I get to a lake and I actually get to fish a lake seems easy at times. And last but not least is you've got Fort Washington right down here. You got a nice little point. There's always, you know, big striper, big cats and all that hanging out of this point, a little flat right there. And this is what I meant when I was saying, like, you've got this area where fish will pull off onto, but you'll still want to throw into that shallower water, because that shallower water is where the fish who want to feed have moved up into. And so you've got less active fish that are in these deep waters and more active fish that are along these points. And I can't harp enough on how important, you know, this deep water access is. You know, let's for one, let's just go down here real quick. We'll talk about Mattawoman in another video, but you know, you go down here and you start seeing, like, okay, if Mattawoman, I hear so many good things about it. Well, look at how much deep water, even towards the back of this creek, that you have in Mattawoman. You know, deep water here, all of these spots where this deep water is present. That's what thing, you know, that translates across so many places, not just the Potomac, but you know, that's what, again, makes a lot of these areas good. So I'm going to stop it right there. We're stopping right here at Fort Washington. You know, good, very well-known spot right there with some deep water access. And we'll continue on later with kind of the center. The second part of this video will be the center of this, of the Potomac. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Drop some comments down in the section. Again, this is not about showing all the Potomac spots, because, you know, that's not what this is about. It's about how you can run this water and the places you can go to catch fish on the Potomac. So guys, thanks for watching. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Y'all have a good one.